Good evening. Lawmakers say if the government and the MTRC do not give the public a full explanation over the controversial delay of the multi-billion-dollar high-speed rail link from Hong Kong to Guangzhou, they will try to invoke LegCo's special powers to probe the case. Emily C. reports.
It's supposed to be a high-speed rail link, but construction is going at a snail's pace. Earlier this week, the government announced that the much-anticipated $67 billion railway linking Hong Kong with Guangzhou will be delayed by up to 2 years due to unforeseen difficulties. MTR chiefs blame the delay on last month's heavy rain, which they say damaged tunnel boring equipment in Yeung and problems with the West Kowloon terminus. The 26-kilometer underground link was supposed to be finished next year, but now services won't start until at least 2017. No one from the government or the MTR is saying how much extra the mega project will cost because of the huge delay. But perhaps more importantly, who's going to pay for it?
We can expect that the government will come back to LegCo and say that, the public should foot the bill, which we oppose. If there's a matter of the MTR having a fault in their monitoring of the whole construction process, if there are faults in negligence in the part of the government in monitoring the MTR, then we don't think the public should foot the bill.
But Lee said even if LegCo manages to block the funding request, he's worried the MTRC will make the public pay for its mistakes by increasing train fares.
So we want to protect the public from any financial losses because of MTR negligence in the monitoring of the construction process.
Democratic Party lawmaker Wu Chi-wai meanwhile urged the authorities to make sure the MTRC presents all the relevant documents and other material related to the delay problem.
It is very important to get the full set of information. As a result, we can know who should be responsible for the incident. If we don't have the documents, the only way we can get the material is, we can only rely on power and privilege ordinance.
Engineering sector lawmaker Lo Wai-kwok disagreed with Wu, saying LegCo's special powers shouldn't be needed here.
I think in the meantime, PNP does not help. The government and the engineering team of MTR should focus on analyzing the situation and come up with a solution.
Low said the priority now is to figure out the cause and cost of the delay, then go after those responsible. LegCo's subcommittee on matters relating to railways is meeting on the 5th of May.
Sai Kung District Councillor Christine Vong has accused the government of hiding facts about the environmental impact of expanding landfills and building an incinerator. Vong and a group of Cheung Kwan O residents protested outside government headquarters in Tamar today against the plans. She says the administration failed to mention that hundreds of thousands of trees will be chopped down because of the plans. The protesters are urging the government to reassess the effects of the plans on the environment. A community group has found that half of people in Lantau are unhappy about the East Lantau Metropolis plan proposed by the government. Residents are worried about an influx of tourists and the strain on local resources. Bolan reports.
In Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying's second policy address, he announced plans to give Lantau a massive makeover. He wants to turn part of the island into a glitzy metropolis that would create jobs and ease the city's crowded streets by diverting visitors away from the usual shopping and sightseeing spots. It's also exploring the possibility of creating a man-made island full of hotels, shopping centres, restaurants and support services for the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. But the idea hasn't gone down well with Lantau residents, who are worried about the strain on resources and the impact it will have on their daily lives. The Tung Chung Community Development Alliance quizzed 240 residents in the past few weeks about their thoughts on the proposals. According to its survey, half the residents are against the development project and only 30% support it. Over 70% are against any reclamation and 60% said country parks shouldn't be destroyed to make way for the developments. The Alliance said residents are concerned with overcrowding, and if the metropolis caters only to tourists, then the needs of the locals will be ignored. The group called on the government to address the residents' concerns. Many also feel the island lacks a decent transport system as it is, and more people will make things worse.
If they decide on more development, they will have to boost up the number of buses, right? Because already we're waiting for buses and taxis.
Member of the Lantau Development Advisory Committee, Chow Chun-hung, said if the project is given the green light, then there have to be better transport arrangements. The committee is urging the Transport Department to ease restrictions on taxis, especially during weekends and public holidays, and widen roads to cope with extra traffic. Bo Leung, ATV News.
Environmentalists are worried the government's plan to build flats and a resort hotel on Llama Island will ruin wildlife habitats, including endangered tree frogs and turtles. Meanwhile, housing experts insist the 700 home ownership scheme flats planned for the island will be popular amongst middle-aged locals. Emily still has more.
With a population of 6,000, Llama Island is a popular destination for those who wish to temporarily escape from the hustle and bustle of city life. But the island could soon lose some of its rural and laid-back charm, as the government is looking at nearly doubling its population. The planning department is consulting the public about plans to build 700 home ownership scheme flats and 1,200 private flats near the old quarry. Experts say many locals will be attracted to invest in the 700 HOS flats, even though it's a 25-minute boat ride from the city center.
In general, the market price there will be about 30 or 40% less than that in the urban area. And because for the HOS properties, usually the government will set 50% discounts, and therefore overall the price will be about half of that in the urban area.
Poon added the plan will probably push up property prices on the island. The government is also planning to build a water sports center, a 260-room hotel, and a commercial zone. Llama is home to over 100 types of birds, 40 kinds of butterflies, and is a breeding site for green sea turtles. Most importantly, it's home for the rare Roma's tree frog, and conservationists are concerned.
The artificial light will definitely affect the breeding of the green turtle. Then they will misleading their direction and lost where to find their breeding site. Get more people and traffic around here, and we will create different air pollution, water pollution. Definitely will also affect the Roma's frog as well.
Rather than building resorts and housing, Chan said it's more suitable to build an ecological theme park to preserve the island's natural beauty.
Labour Chief Matthew Yeung says his department will take a multi-pronged approach to deal with youth unemployment. Writing in his diary today, the Labour Minister said the youth unemployment rate is at 7.2%. He added this number could rise in a few months when fresh graduates enter the labour market. Yeung said his department and the Vocational Training Council will provide employment support and training services for young job seekers. There are also plans to train youth for jobs in care homes, which often complain that they can't get enough staff. Overseas, divers searching for survivors of a South Korean ferry that capsized on Wednesday say they spotted 3 bodies through a passenger cabin window today. The captain of the ferry that sank, which left at least 32 dead and more than 270 missing, was arrested today along with 2 crew members. Anne-Marie Sim reports.
Captain Lee Jun-suk faces 5 charges, including negligence of duty and violation of maritime law. The 69-year-old was arrested this morning amid reports that an inexperienced crew member may have been in control of the ferry at the time of the sinking. Lee was not at the helm or on the bridge when the ferry capsized, although crew members said he tried to right the ship later. Witnesses claimed that he and other crew members abandoned ship before giving orders for the passengers to escape. I had ordered passengers to leave the ferry at the beginning, but later I told them to stay because there was no rescue ship, Lee said. He was seen in this video by Yonhap News Television seeking shelter at a port in the coastal city of Jindo with the first group of survivors, leaving hundreds of passengers behind on the sinking vessel. Reports say Lee hid the fact that he was the captain from the rescuers. The helmsman at the time, Cho Jun-ki, who was among those arrested, admitted that he had made a mistake, but that the steering gear turned further than it was supposed to. South Korean officials said the ferry went down at a point off the coast of Jindo Island where it had to make a turn. Investigators are looking at whether the 25-year-old third mate ordered a turn that was so sharp it caused the ship to list. Meanwhile, divers searching for survivors said they spotted 3 bodies through a cabin window today. The divers saw the bodies in an area where many of the children were believed to be trapped, but were unable to break the glass to retrieve them. The Coast Guard said no sounds have been detected from within the capsized hull. The ferry went down in calm conditions on Wednesday with 475 passengers on board, most of them senior school students on a journey from Incheon to the holiday island of Jeju.
Rescuers were searching through piles of snow and ice on the slopes of Mount Everest today for 4 Sherpas who were buried by an avalanche that killed 12 other Nepalese guides. Officials said 3 helicopters were sent to the area, while several injured climbers have been brought to the base camp. Emery Sim has more.
It was a tragic start to this year's climbing season when an avalanche struck yesterday at around 6:45 a.m. local time in an area known as the Popcorn Field for its bulging chunks of ice just above Everest Base Camp at 5,800 metres. Although relatively low on the mountain, climbers say it's one of the most dangerous stages in the ascent. The guides, most of whom were Sherpas, had climbed up the slope early in the morning to fix ropes for climbers and prepare the route for mountaineers. 4 survivors with serious injuries had to be airlifted to hospitals in the capital, Kathmandu. Others with less serious injuries were being treated at base camp. It's thought to be the deadliest climbing tragedy on the mountain. Nepal tourism officials said weather conditions were good this morning for a search and rescue operation. This injured guide, Dawa Tashi, lay in the intensive care unit at Grande Hospital in the capital late last night after being evacuated from the mountain. The 22-year-old said that dozens of guides were on the move when the avalanche hit. He described a huge block of ice that came out of nowhere flying right at them. The force of the avalanche left him with fractured ribs and broken shoulder blades. More than 4,000 climbers have scaled Everest's summit since it was first climbed by Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay Sherpa in 1953. The route they took is the one hit by the avalanche yesterday.
Tensions in eastern Ukraine are still simmering, with pro-Russian protesters demanding a referendum on autonomy and closer ties with Russia. Although the protesters are gathering at a local government building in the town